Hey, welcome to another episode of Peep This. We're your hosts, Corey, just recovering from COVID.
So glad you're okay.
I know, glad to be amongst the land of the living. People, go get vaccinated. I was fully vaccinated, still got it. Symptoms mild, moderate, lost my taste, smell, but I'm living, so that's the biggest thing.
Yep.
And this is, of course, the beautiful Lorraine.
Hey, everybody.
What are you drinking?
I am having some sweet wheat by 1792.
Ooh, the unicorn.
It is
Ugh,
amazing.
I cannot wait to taste that.
Yes.
I'm having an old fashioned.
Okay.
But I can't. That's like really one of the only few things I can still kind of taste somewhat. So I got it with some cheaper bourbon.
Okay.
But today we're talking overtraining your athlete. We kind of come to that crossroads where football is ending for some, volleyball, but we're getting now into basketball, fall baseball, I think is going on.
Right.
And they're starting to cross all the sports. So we want to have a little PSA for some of y'all parents that like to work your kids like a Hebrew slave. Be on the lookout for a couple of these signs that you might be overtraining on.
Right. And so we talk about it all the time, but we want to make sure we have some sources that we have pulled, and we will make sure we cite them. But some real signs or symptoms to overtraining. So if your kid is having prolonged muscle soreness. So anytime you train, you're going to get sore.
Right.
Couple days should be, like that. But if you're sore 3-4 days, that means that you are probably being overtrained and you need some recovery time. Not to mention you're growing at a very rapid rate.
Right.
Probably you're in middle school and high school.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And then the other symptom that you can see is if you are plateauing. So say if you're doing really well in whatever sport it is, and then you kind of just stop right there. You don't see any improved performance and things like that, and agility, speed, whatever it may be.
That's the biggest one right there. It's the performance plateau. Because I think a lot of times parents are confusing performance plateau with the need to train.
Right.
And you got to come to the realization for some kids, that is the plateau. That 5'7" 40 or 5'8" 40 that your son is running or your daughter's running, that might be their plateau for now.
Right.
Let them run it this year. Then you come back and you regroup and then you try again next year. It doesn't help to say, alrighty, now I'm going to make them lift weights. I'm going to make them do plyometrics. I'm going to make them do speed. And then they still got to go to regular practice for basketball, but then they're also playing volleyball on the side too.
Right.
And then now everything takes the dive.
It's going to take a dive. And you have to be mindful of your kid's body, especially now. They need their rest. Their doctors are going to tell them that. And the trainers have to fall in line with that. Doesn't mean you don't train them, but you have to respect the fact that they have to grow and develop.
Absolutely.
They need that time.
And let's just be honest, at this age, as they're growing so rapidly, it's time to start probably picking a sport. Like, we got to stop sugarcoating that every kid gets to play everything when they're going to middle school or high school.
That's true.
I hate to say it, but the anomalies don't count. But if you still on the B team of your basketball team, most likely you in 8th grade, you're not playing high school basketball. But you're really, really good in football. Go focus and train for football and do a couple other things. And keep wasting your time in basketball. You don't have to do it anymore.
There's nothing wrong with that. I played basketball my sophomore year in high school, and though I was good with defense, I had no additional skills that around the fundamentals and everything you needed in basketball.
We know.
So then when
see you play now.
I was Dennis Rodman, but
yes, you were.
It's fine. So, but then I realized that I had some ability in track, and guess what? I had to pick one.
You had to pick one.
I was a sophomore in high school. I did not have time to play around.
No, you don't have to. It's too hard now because kids are too good, too fast. You're trying to train them to catch up to everything. And that's where the overtraining comes in, just like we talked about with their physical body, but mentally. Kids are smarter than what you give your kid credit for. They know they're not the best kid on their team. You're telling them they're the best kid on the team. But they default to the best kid on the team.
True that.
So just stop with the madness of trying to turn your kid into a superstar.
And even if your kid is a superstar, I need to say this, even if your kid is special, gifted, talented, only thing that's going to get them to now, if they go to the pros, God willing, is time.
Yes, absolutely.
There is nothing that you can do in the 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, all, except for take care of your body, properly train, and give it time. You cannot accelerate it with 10 more practices.
No, you cannot.
And it's not going to happen.
No. And for the accelerated, those are for the special people we always talk about. That's for the 1% and 2% that can accelerate everything to get ready for the combine. Little Johnny, little Susie, little Tyrone, we got to get all the names in here. Little Keisha, if any of them are you doing the standing long jump and they jump 4 feet, You don't have to try to get them to jump 10 feet. They're not going to be able to do it. But let them be a kid. Whatever happened to that? Let them play the sport, have fun. And you don't have to stress them out about training constantly.
I agree. I totally agree. I can't say anything else to it.
All right. So you didn't heard it all. After you go get vaccinated, tell yourself you can do something or tell yourself you can't do it. But either way, you're going to be right. Till next week. Peace.
Yep.